And, man, I'll tell you something about Rick Barry. Rick said this about the MVP voting 2 weeks ago. He goes, Joker's the best player. And everybody was all like, what are you talking about? Everyone in Philly went, what's Rick saying? I mean, Embiid had – and I gotta give it to Rick. I'm watching a better version, or how about this? A modern day version, and a not athletic as Hakeem Olajuwon. This guy can pass, free throws, jump shot. His passing at that size, I can't think of a better passer at that size and height. Maybe Bill Walton. And Bill wasn't 7 feet. He was more like a 6'10", 6'11". Today, he'd be a power forward. Let's bring Rick in and get his thoughts on that. Rick, you're dead on, man. I mean, you said the best player on the planet's in Denver, and he's putting it out there for display that you're dead on with this guy. This guy, Joker, is the best player in the planet.
Well, let me straighten something out. First of all, I didn't say he's the best player. I said I think he was the most valuable player because, again, you can't pick the best player if you want to talk about positions. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. That's this bullshit about the GOAT is ridiculous. I mean, there's no such thing as a GOAT in a team sport. It has to be by position, and have a discussion about that. But MVP is a different story. And I've always been somebody who was tried to get them to think about having 2 awards, have a most outstanding player and a most valuable player. Sometimes the most outstanding player isn't necessarily the most valuable player, and and vice versa. And especially, well, forget all-star games because it's not even a game anymore. That's a joke. No, so the Joker without question, and it should be Western Conference, Eastern Conference. That's the biggest ridiculousness that the NBA has done forever. They refuse to have it. You have an unbalanced schedule. It makes no sense to pick the best player in the entire league when you don't have a balanced schedule. It's insane. Just like in football, you're going to go ahead and pick an overall MVP. No, they have the MVP for what? NFC, AFC, right? I mean, same thing in baseball. So why is basketball going to be different? And it makes no sense because what happened is the Joker should have been the MVP again this season in the Western Conference, and B could have been the MVP in the Eastern Conference. Great, no problem with that. But I do think that what the Joker has shown in this series is that he's a pretty damn good player. I mean, the guy's amazing. And I have to say one other thing that you say. He doesn't have a jump shot. He doesn't jump. It's a set shot. But, man, I love the way this guy plays. And Bill Wall was a good analogy. An incredible passer Bill Wall was. And the Joker is every bit as good, if not better. He's amazing. I mean, the way he plays the game, it's like he plays the game in a whole different fashion than other people, especially big guys. It's like he sees the game in slow motion. I can relate to what he's saying because and when he watches, he has this peripheral vision of the court. You see everything going on. Fortunately, I think I had that when I play. When I broadcast and do stuff, I see things going on out there. And it's hard for me to listen to a lot of broadcasts because guys are talking about the obvious all the time, and some other really interesting stuff has happened, and nobody ever talks about it. But yeah, the Joker is special, and he got shortchanged this year. And I really do think that a lot of these writers, a lot of maybe the older guys, they don't want to give somebody 3 MVPs in a row for some reason. It's like oh no, you can't do that. He's not that great. Hey, if the guy is that good that season, give him the freaking MVP. Who the hell cares if it's his 8th time, his 1st time, his 20th time? It doesn't matter.
Rick, if you had to rank
off the chest, I'm ready to go now.
I see it, man. No, hey, Rick, if you had to rank the top 3 players, Giannis, Embiid, or Joker, and maybe the guy in Dallas too, how would you rank the top 3 players in the NBA right now?
By position. I mean, the big men, it's
you're not going to waver off that position thing, are you?
No, well, you can't. I mean, again, I can't compare Steph Curry to the Joker. I can't compare Steph Curry to Embiid. I can't compare Steph Curry to Jason Tatum or anybody else in the league. I can compare Steph Curry to CP3 or Harden or whoever, another guard. You can have a really good discussion about that, but that's the only thing that makes sense. And then stop this comparison about guys that played in the 60s and the 70s to the guys that are playing in the 2020s. I mean, just go by decades. I mean, why do people want to do that? Because I can assure you, I will bet on my life. I would bet. I don't bet. I'm not a betting person. I bet my life that the players back in my day, if we were playing today, we would all be way better than we were back then because we didn't have all of the training and the sophistication that all of these players have. We ate steak before a meal. We didn't know about carbo loads. We traveled commercially. We go to bed at 2 in the morning, get up at 5:30 to catch a plane to fly to the next city to play the next night. These guys are on chartered flights, getting good night's sleep. They've got dietitians. They've got strength coaches. They got agility coaches. I mean, geez, I would love to be able to be playing today and having all of that available to me, because I'd be faster, stronger, quicker, more endurance, jump higher. It'd be crazy how much better I would be playing today.
Rick, I'm going to throw a comment at you here, or maybe a question here at you here when it comes to LeBron. Do you agree or do you disagree that LeBron James left his best basketball with the Miami Heat? And I'm going to make this point here to you. It was the best coach he's ever had. It was the best organization he ever had. It was the most structured organization. And as you could see what Pat Riley has done, it's kind of a Jerry West-ish kind of thing where they're constantly retooling. They're getting role players in there. Pat would have put better role players around him. Instead of looking up at Jordan, I say he may have been even past Jordan because of the structure that he had in Miami. But his ego couldn't take it. He didn't want to share, and he didn't want to be that guy. Do you think he left more championships in Miami?
Very possibly, yeah. I mean, there's no question about it. But he also was at a team when he first started out, and he left to try to get some championships that wasn't going to win because they didn't do the things you just mentioned. They didn't give him the supporting cast. What player doesn't win? I mean, it's about the team. It's about the collective. It's like the Borg. Okay, if you're a Star Trek,
but the culture in Miami, we're seeing it. I mean, this is the third, but this is going to be the third potential finals that they're in 4 years. I mean, I have to think that culture doesn't it? Don't you think that plays into it? I agree with you. Cleveland wasn't going to do shit the first time around for him. They got smart the second time around, but the first time around, I kind of get it, like moving like that. But he left a culture that could have delivered more things that he wanted, which was to be a bigger champion than Jordan.
Well, talk is cheap. Okay. You know, anybody can talk about what they want to do, what their goals are, and doing stuff. It's what they do that you evaluate. And he made the choices to do what he did. Okay. And you want to talk about leaving championships on the table. The number one at the top of the list is Shaq and Kobe.
Well, let's not forget you too, Rick. I mean, so
no, it's Shaq and Kobe. It's Shaq and Kobe by no. I mean, there's no comparison. Shaq and Kobe not staying together. It would have been unbelievable how many championships they go in. And right there, running a close 1B. That would be 1A. You know, if you get the racetrack, you got the 1A, the 1B entry. The 1B would be the Golden State Warriors if Kevin Durant decided to stay. No telling how many championships those guys would have won if they all stayed together. That was an incredible, totally defenseless team. You couldn't defend that team. There's no way. So, you know, to me, I never did understand. I never did get a full explanation or any time at all feel why KD left. I don't know. I would have given up a whole bunch of my salary to be able to stay on a team with Steph Curry and Draymond Green and Klay Thompson. I mean, oh my gosh. I mean, it's not about you now, especially with the money. It's not about the money. Hell, I never heard the word $1 million in my contract negotiations. The lowest paid guy in the NBA this year will make twice as much money as I made the best year I ever had. He never plays. Okay. God bless him. I mean, you know, good for them. But it would have been about the money because it would have been a ridiculous amount of money. But even then, back in those days when the money wasn't even there, I still would have wanted to be on a championship team. It's not like I was, not get paid well. I mean, I want to win. That's what I play for. I play to win, not to make records. Hell, I did things in this league that I never knew about because now we're so statistically oriented. It seems like every other month I pick up the newspaper and my name's mentioned that somebody joined so-and-so having done this, that, and that. I had no idea I did those things. Zero.
I see that all the time as well. Tonight, Game 5, Rick, is this series over, or do you think that this has a chance to get to a 7th game in Boston?
Well, it's never happened before, but it has the chance. And this is a huge game, I think, for Miami because the way that Boston was able to convincingly win on Miami's court, it was a convincing victory. That's given them confidence. They know that they didn't play their best basketball. I mean, Game 3 was a disaster and embarrassment. And Just think about it. If they find a way to win this game, Boston I'm talking about, they now make it 3-2. Now you go back and you have to play down in Miami. So now all of a sudden it's on Miami. Miami's saying, shit, we got to win, because if they don't win at home in game 6, they have to go back and win in Boston again. How many times has a team won 3 road games? 3 road games against an opposing team. I don't know if it's ever happened in the history of the league, to be honest with you. I know that we were the only team, the first team in 75 to sweep a team and win on their court 2 times. I think the Rockets did that when they swept Orlando years ago. And that's the second time it only happened. It doesn't happen very frequently. Now you're talking about having to do it 3 times, 3 games in order to be the champions, right? Lose 2 games on your home court.
That Rockets team beat the Magic the first 2 games. Anderson missed those free throws in the second game too. And so they went back after taking those opening 2 games. Yeah.
So anything can happen in the world of sports, and nothing when it comes statistically and stuff like that stays at 0. Okay. So it's never happened. There's always a first time, it seems like. And this could conceivably be, because I was honestly quite surprised of how Boston played. And maybe they just felt overconfident, didn't give enough credit to Miami when they beat the 76ers in the manner in which they beat them. And the way they played in those first 2 games, I was shocked. And then I was just dumbfounded by how they played in game 3. Oh, my heavens. So maybe they got themselves back together, because we know what they're capable of doing. We saw it against the 76ers, what they're capable of doing. If they come up with a big win in the game tonight, boy, I tell you, it changes the dynamic of things big time. So they only have to go and win another game down on the road, which means it's 2 games they have to win. But if Miami were to screw up and they lose this one, now if they don't win at home, they've got to win 3 games. So that's, again, this is interesting. This is what makes sports, I think, very exciting and interesting. So it's moving back and forth. And it's not pressure, because I'll never use the word pressure. You know how I feel about pressure. Doesn't exist if you have confidence in your ability to do what you've trained to do. And I wish these announcers would stop talking, oh, the pressure's really on. Well, maybe for you, the pressure's on doing the broadcast, but it wasn't for me as a player. And they use it all the time. And when I hear other players doing it, I said, wow, you played and you felt pressure playing basketball? Oh, I'm sorry for you.
I embraced it.
Hey, I told you, I wish every game I played and came down to the last 10 seconds, game on the line, give me the ball.
Hey, Rick, man, I wanted to be the star in the game. I wasn't looking to hide in the game. And so that leads me to something that Jason Tatum, though, a little bit. Did you ever get into a position, Rick, where you were embarrassed in a playoff game, and then all of a sudden that just absolutely lit your ass on fire, and you went on some sort of like psychotic run?
Are you kidding me? I thought game 7, Western Conference Finals, 1975. I was 2 for 14, and we're down double digits in game 7 at home. Okay, back then the GOAT was the guy that screwed up. I was the GOAT. So when I went back in, Al took me out. I mean, I tell everybody, Al Laddle's greatest coaching move in his career was taking me out of the game. What coach is going to take his star player out of the game midway through the 3rd quarter at home in a game 7 for the Western Conference Finals and keep me on the bench the entire rest of the quarter and into the 4th quarter? Into the 4th quarter. You know, I figured he's going to put me in the 3rd quarter. He didn't. And so he puts me back in. So my mindset was, okay, great. I'm having a bad game, but you know what? I got to play through this. I mean, I have nowhere to go but up. I can't get any lower than where I am. I'm going to be the guy that cost us a freaking chance to go to the finals if we don't win this game. So I remember like it was yesterday. I remember, in fact, somebody just sent me, and Bruce McGowan, who did a lot of broadcasts. We worked together at KMBR doing stuff. And Bruce sent me the audio of Bill King's call of that game and listening to it, you know, and I came back in the game. And I remember my first shot, I was open. I was like, you know, I don't know. I think he called it a little closer than it might have been, but I thought I was like 18 feet or so, 20 feet open right in front of our bench. I know on the northwestern side of the arena. I know it like it was yesterday. And I said, hey, I took it, made it. Okay. And then I made another one. And we were down 6 when I came back in. My team did such a great job. That's why you win with teammates, right? We're down double digits. They need 12 or something. When I come back in, we're only down 6, right? And so I knock in a bunch of shots. Now all of a sudden, next thing you know, we're tied. I think I went like 5 for 7 or something. Went up for a jump shot on one pass like I always used to do, and told my teammates, never turn your head when I go up for a jumper until you see it on its way to the basket. Because if you're near the basket and your teammate turns his head, it's going to come right by his ear and you're going to get a layup. And so George Johnson rolled in. I went up for the jumper, hit him. He got a big basket. And we wound up winning, and George was blocking everything. Clifford Ray was the biggest cheerleader. He was the starting center. George was blocking everybody's shot that came in. Our defense was unbelievable. It was just, I just remember those kind of things. But that's what it's about, having confidence in yourself and believing in yourself. And I did. That's probably, and it reminded me of what Tatum did against against the Sixers. He was having a miserable game as well. And then he went bananas. And that's, you have to believe in yourself. You really do. And hey, you're not always going to be successful. And in that situation, it would have been something he would have had nightmares for the rest of his life, just like I have nightmares for the rest of my life on the pick and roll play with Nate Thurman and myself against Will Chamberlain and the 76ers when we played that, when the Philadelphia team, when we played them in game 6 at our place for the championships in 1967. I mean, I went up for the jump. I wanted to come off. I was open. I was going to shoot. I saw Nate going. I went up, saw Nate going, started to throw the ball to him, and Will Chamberlain took the largest step I've ever seen a human being take in my life, cut the passing angle off. I had a double clutch. I missed it. Big shot. We make that.
Rick, how good was that? How good was that 67 76ers team? I believe they won 68.
Everybody talks about him being one of the best teams in the history.
They won 68, right? 68 or
69 games. They were a great team. I mean, you had Will Chamberlain. You had, people don't even know, Luke Jackson, another big prototypical power forward. They had Billy Cunningham, Hall of Famer, playing the small forward spot. They had Hal Greer, top 50 player, as their point guard, and also Larry Costello, a veteran player who was there. They had Wally Jones. They had, I mean, they had Chet Walker. I mean,
Chet Walker was on that team.
Yeah, I mean, Chet Walker, Wally Jones, and Matty Gukas was on the team. Billy Melchione, my good dear friend and teammate when I played with the Nets in the ABA. That was a loaded team. They were really, really good. And if 2 pick and roll plays, one in Philly and one at our place, go our way, we could have possibly won in 6 games. We had a really good basketball team, and I remember that. Like, thank God I can still remember it, but it is a memory that I wish wasn't there.
By the way, I saw that really cool picture of you and Barry Bonds at the golf event, man.
I went into Barry at the Charles Schulz event I go to every year out in Sonoma Wine Country. Do a lot of great things for kids' charities in that area, and stay with my good friend Mark Enlow, and running into Barry. I didn't expect him to be there. I hadn't seen him in quite a while, and man, he's in super great shape.
He's like a bike guy, and hey, when I used to do afternoons, or when I did Sports Phone 68, and I was on KMBR, so Bonds would come on and he'd do the show, and then I got that show on the Ticket 1050. And I called Bonds up once. I go, hey, I got to get you on. He goes, no.
Hey, I had him after his year when he set the record. He came on my show. I did a 3-hour show once on KMBR radio, right?
Yeah.
The Rick Barry show.
By the way, you canned that. It was very successful, too.
All 3 hours. He stayed on with me for 3 hours.
Oh, that's fabulous.
We covered so much stuff. I have it. I still have a cassette of it on a disc. And I had his wife on. And I said, look, I want to give you a chance to tell people about some of the stuff you've been accused of, crazy stuff about when he went to check in the hotel. Listeners know exactly what happened. Gave him a chance to do that. And, Barry never denied that he had taken steroids, but he said initially he didn't know the guy. Here, if my trainer came to me, when I came to me, hey, this is true. During my career, they came to me, Rick, you need to take a shot. And I said, what's that? It's a B12 shot. Well, sure, he could have been giving me steroids. I wouldn't have known. What the hell? I'm not going to question whether or not he's giving me steroids or not. It's a B12 shot. Great. Give me the shot. And I would get shots and do stuff that they did for us. I didn't question it. And this was his personal friend doing stuff. If he didn't tell him what it was, how the hell does he really know? Now, the thing about it is he's a workout freak and doing stuff anyway. And obviously he took steroids, but, initially when it happened, I don't think he initially knew or planned on doing it. So I don't know. And the bottom line of it is, I don't think he loved his godfather so much and respect for his dad as well, Willie Mays. And And he was great as it was. And steroids didn't help him hit the ball further, make home runs. It didn't give him better eye-hand coordination. I mean, people took this to such an extreme. And here's the bullshit about it all. Right? The hypocrisy of it. The owners didn't give a shit. They were happy they were hitting home runs.
You're damn right. It was turning to turnstiles. And, hey, the reason that – I've always said this, Rick, one of the reasons why baseball has a steroid policy, they don't want to pay shortstops and second basemen for hitting 52 home runs anymore. They'd rather pay you for 25 home runs, and the salaries went through the roof. Rick, I do have to ask you this, though, before you go here, and I like Arthur's question here. JJ Reddick says that Bird isn't a good three-point shooter compared to today's players.
Okay. Okay, J.J. Reddick is going to go ahead and analyze Larry Bird, one of the greatest players of all time. You know, people would argue maybe he's the greatest three. Certainly, he's going to be in the conversation anytime you talk about that. I don't think J.J.'s on any list as far as the greatest shooting guards. Okay, and that's what J.J. did, and he did it well. And he should be going to church and lighting candles and thanking God that he had the career that he had. And he got $23 million to play one season. And, you know, I'm sorry, you know, I mean, he should be thanking his lucky stars that he was able to have the career that he had. And, you know, and he could shoot it, and he was smart and understood the game, and he knows the game. I mean, let's face it, he knows the game. He's a smart guy.
But Rick,
please don't tell me
the thing is, he thinks he was better
than guys. How many guys? 5 guys on your list that you might say shot a little bit better than him? I mean, Larry Bird was a great three-point shooter. Okay, I don't know what is this? I can't even pull it up, but I wish I knew what was his career stats for three-point shooting in the NBA. I don't know. Did you look it up?
No. I don't know, but I know he's on ESPN. And to me, the insinuation is that I believe he thinks he's a better three-point shooter.
He may have been if open, but he's not going to get his own shot.
So, like what, in a game of horse?
You know, yeah, stand there and just shoot threes. You know, he might be able to beat Bird. He was a hell of a three-point shooter at times. But no, I mean, why would you even bring that up and even make a statement like that? Seriously. And here we go again. Why are we comparing what Larry Bird did during his time to what? To the guys today. Okay? I mean, seriously. What it doesn't make any freaking sense. I mean,
JJ Reddick was 37.6% career three-point shooter.
And what was Larry Bird?
And then, yeah, guys, give me – and Larry shot 40%.
Okay. There you go. He wasn't a great three-point shooter. He's a 40% three-point shooter. How many guys in there? 40% is great three-point shooting, and he was better than JJ in his career, and he made that statement. He should be ashamed of himself.
Wow. I mean, JJ Reddick is taking shots.
No,
no. Wait a minute, Rick. I got it wrong. Larry was a 37% free throw shooter from three.
Not free throw.
Reddick was the 40%. So
okay,
situation is that he's a better perimeter shooter.
I said he might have beaten him a little better, but Larry was a 37.5 is a great 3-point. That's great 3-point shooting. Okay, I mean 33 is 50%. I mean, how many guys are shooting 37.5? Okay,
but Rick, why do you take a shot at Larry Bird?
I don't understand that. Okay, so statistically, he was better than Larry Bird for 3-point thing. That's the only part of the game he was better than Larry Bird. Maybe free throw shooting too. Okay, because free throw shooting is whatever it is. But you know, and those are two statistics. But then again, a lot of time Larry Bird had to take some really difficult shots at end of games trying to win games. I don't think JJ was getting the ball in a situation when he was playing on a lot of teams that he was the guy they went to take that tough 3-point shot at the end of games.
Come on, Rick. You would be this if JJ Reddick was on your team. You'd be saying, "Do me a favor, go get me a cup of Gatorade."
No. Hey, JJ Reddick was a nice player. I mean, he was a role player, and he played his role and did it well. Got $23 million for one season doing what he did. I mean, my God, when I saw that, I almost fell off the. You know, I was 23 million. Okay, so JJ, I'd like to go. Let's evaluate the rest of your game, JJ, with Larry Bird. Okay, and we'll evaluate it with any two guard. You know, let's see where it fits.
Jesus criminy. Hey, Rick, what are you doing, man?
I like the stuff he said. He does know the game. What I love about him is he actually stands up, Simon, and challenges Stephen A. Smith.
Yes. Yeah, but then he turns around and says that the point guard for the Celtics played with plumbers.
What?
Yeah, he said Kuzi played back in the day with plumbers, and that's what he said. He goes, you know, those guys back in like the early 60s,
60s, 50s, 60s. Listen, he was ahead of his time, Bob Cousy, the way he handled the ball and could pass it and see the court. And he was, you know, some of the greatest teams, the greatest dynasty in the history of the sport. What the hell is he doing taking shots at guys like that? Just freaking mind your own business. Just be thanking God that you're a multi-millionaire, and you were basically a role player. And an excellent three-point shooter. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
And free throw shooter. I'm sure he had a high free throw shooting percentage as well. And I respect that for any player.
What was your free throw percentage?
Well, it was 90 for my career. But the thing is, my last 6 years, I was over 92. My last 2 years, I was over 94%.
So wait a minute. You had a 92% free throw shooting.
My last 6 years after I changed my technique.
And you shot, and your average is 25 points a night, right?
Yeah. Well, my average, you know, here's the thing. I played and was willing to be a role player on the Rockets team, and I averaged 12 or 13 points a game, which took my stats and skewed them big time. But I played one game when I played two guard when Calvin Murphy was sick in the 2 years I was with Houston, right? I took 25 shots, the most I ever took in any game. I had 37 points.
Rick, what's the most you ever scored in a game?
64.
What's the most you ever scored in a playoff game?
I don't know, but the only thing I do know is that my playoff average was better than my regular season average. And I think that's something you want to look at guys' stuff. Look at what guys did in the playoffs as opposed to what they did in the regular season, because it's much more difficult because of the officiating and the physicality they allow to take place. Yeah. And so
when you won the NBA championship, didn't you score 30? I thought you averaged 30 in that series.
In which one?
In the finals, you won.
It doesn't matter. I don't care. You know what it is? We won. That's all really matters. I won't care if I freaking got 10 points. If I only got 10 points and we won, I'd be happy with that. Okay. I'd be kicking myself in the ass, but I'd be happy that we won. Okay. I would rather win and have a lousy game than have a great game and lose. In fact, people asked me about my 64. I said, I don't even remember did we win. I said, damn it. If you know, and I found out we did win the game. Thank God for that, because it would have been heartbreaking for me if I had
wait, I just was informed that Rick Barry averaged 40 points in the playoffs in the ABA.
Well, but I also during for a 6-game series, I had the record for finals average until Michael broke it in a 6-game series. And the only reason he broke
37.
my record. No, he averaged 40 points something for a 6-game series in the finals. I think I had the record for decades and decades. He broke it, but the only reason he broke it, he played one overtime game and scored 8 points in that overtime. If it weren't for that, he'd still be second.
Man, you and Dr. J and all them great players in the ABA, Rick. I mean, when I grew up in New England, Rick, I didn't watch the Knicks. I watched the Colonels. I watched the Nets. Dude, I watched the Squires. I watched all the Nuggets, the Spurs. I got into a big discussion with Marv Albert when he was doing his radio show back then in New York, and when I was ABA, telling me that not very good. I said, "What the hell are you? You're going to tell me that we don't have really great players in our league?" I said, "What the hell do you know about that?" I got into a big thing about it. I said, "We have a lot of great players. We might not have as many great teams, but we have a lot of great players." And I think the first year that the ABA went into the NBA. Didn't Malone play in the ABA too?
Who?
Moses played in the ABA.
He started there. Yeah, Moses started there. But the thing is, if you look at the All-Star game, when it was a game and it meant something, that first year when they brought the ABA teams in, that a very significant number of the All-Star players were ABA guys. Yeah. So I rest my case right there for sure. And here's the thing. If somebody gets to JJ Reddick, say, JJ, I respect your three-point shooting, your free throw shooting and stuff. You say a lot of good things on the air, but come on, for a smart, intelligent guy, what the hell are you doing taking a shot at Larry Bird?
Hey, Rick, tell the folks what you got going on. I want them to make sure they go over to
Yeah, well, I'm into a
Barry,
number of things. I try to take care of myself. Hell, I can't even believe the next year I'll be 80 years old, but I feel like I'm in my 50s. But I take care of myself, and I use stuff. I use cannabinoid products, and there's two products there, aloemd.com, aloemd.com, and medicilleaf.com, medicilleaf.com. And then for my knees, when I play pickleball, I got an arthritic knee. It's ridiculous. Go Sleeves, GOSLEEVES.com. And there's a code. My initials, RB, and the number 24, RB24, on all of those three sites. Check them out. See all of the amazing, amazing testimonials we get and how good the products are. I use them all the time. And you put that code in, you'll get a significant discount. And I just hope that they work for you as well as they work for me. I got another thing I'm working on too that's doing 60% men snore and 45% of women. I'm with a company now. We have it's an incredible product. 91% effectiveness. FDA has checked the thing out of helping to stop snoring. And I'm really getting all over this one and trying to get that out there because that's a problem for people for relationships and other things. So it's really cool.
We'll catch up with you.
I'll come back and get a website for that sometime. But yeah, the snoring thing is, although for my wife, I like to sleep on my side, and I'm pretty good now about not snoring so much. But if I'm on my back, I do snore, so it's a good thing to check out. Anyway, hey, all the best to you.
We got to throw this out there before we go.
Oh, yeah, we got to go.
Throw it out before we go.
Oh, yeah, I tell you what, I was a little disappointed. They did such a great job in the NCAA tournament this year, but they just got a little flat there in the last game to get eliminated. But Jimmy Larinaga did a great job with that team, and hopefully they'll continue to have the success that Jim's brought to them.
Absolutely. Rick, we'll catch up with you real soon. Thank you so much, my friend.
Always a pleasure. Take care.
You got it. Our dear friend, Rick Barry. Don't forget, you can go over to his Twitter page and see all the things that he's involved in at Rick24Barry. Go over there. Please hit the like button. We're going to reset. Keep it here on the National Football.